Okay, hi. Alison here from Grant Sheds, and today we're here with Angas from Meningie, just to do a little interview with him. So thanks for doing the interview, we appreciate that.
Welcome.
Firstly, how many years have you, or past generations, spent on this farm?
40 years.
40 years? So it's your parents and yourself?
That's correct.
Yep. And what sort of farming is it that you do?
It's a livestock business principally. We run dairy heifers and we grow them out for dairy farmers on agistment.
Alright. And where do those come from? Just locally or elsewhere?
The southeast, western Victoria and Adelaide Hills.
Oh wow, so it's a fair area that it comes in from. Oh, well done. Danny told me a bit that you told him about the clay that you bring into this area. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
The clay is actually a waste product from a foundry in Adelaide. They have about 20 to 30 tonnes a day of this product, which they are not allowed to put into landfill because of the rules and regulations in South Australia. So they've actually delivered it to on farm here, and we put it in our paddocks, and it's just like conventional clay spreading.
Okay, yep. So that helps your pastures?
Definitely, yeah. It alleviates the non-wetting sand problem that we have.
Yep. So what area do you have here on the farm?
Roughly 10,000 acres.
10,000 acres. And so it's all the heifer feeding them up?
Yes, it's all that's all for heifer agistment.
Yep. You don't have any of your own? No dairy farm for yourself?
We have no livestock of our own apart from a few bulls for the agistment business.
Yep. And what about cropping? Any cropping?
Very little cropping.
Yep.
Just opportunity cropping, and that's really part of our pasture renovation program.
Yep, right. And you did a bit of subcontracting?
Yes, we do a fair bit of contracting, both seeding and spraying around the district. Roughly 10,000 acres a year of seeding, and depending on the season, up to 30,000 acres of spraying.
Okay. And how far afield do you go with that?
Up to about 100, 120 k's from here.
All right.
Tindanara, Canalpin, further south.
So if there's anybody watching this from that district who's looking for some spraying or seeding, have you got any positions available?
Oh yes, no, we can definitely help you out there.
Oh, well, I better give him a plug. That's Henry Angas. His telephone number is 0428 751 263, or you can give us a call and we'll pass it on. Now, just a couple of things about your industry. What is the biggest threat facing your farm business or the industry, and how do you think it can be overcome?
Well, the biggest threat is the viability of the industries we service.
Right.
We could be directly affected if the dairy industry has a downturn, or if the livestock industry with the cropping and spraying jobs that we do, if those businesses are suffering, we also suffer.
Yeah. All right. And what do you think is the biggest opportunity for your farm business or for the industry?
Oh, well, certainly from the dairy heifer agistment business, I think the biggest opportunity is that more dairy farms recognise that this area can grow out dairy heifers better than anywhere else.
It's always a difficult one to spread that word, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you reckon that's the best area in all of Australia, or southeast Australia?
Certainly southeastern Australia.
Yeah.
Our climate allows us, a warmer climate, and our quality pastures allow us to grow our heifers cheaper than what they are doing in the high rainfall cold areas.
Okay, so there's another plug. If you're looking for somewhere to grow out heifers, Henry's your man. Okay, and how has your industry changed over the last 5 or 10 years, do you think?
Yeah, well, we've been doing this agistment business for 18 years now, and what's changed is we're dealing with much smaller dairy businesses, 1, 2, maybe 300 cow dairies. Now we're dealing with 1,000 cow plus dairies,
Yep.
so that's much the biggest change.
A lot of things, everything's getting bigger.
Yes, yeah.
And how has the drought recently affected the dairy industry down this way?
Providing we're not too badly affected by the drought, it works in our favour, because there's actually more demand for agistment in the drought.
Oh, okay, yep, of course. All right, and if you were 18 again, what industry do you think you'd set out to work in and why?
My oldest son works in the mining industry, and I think this, if I was 18, again, the opportunities that would have been there 25 years ago, I would have gone down that path.
Jumped on that. Yep. And what do you think has been your biggest learning curve in your farming career?
People are your most valuable asset in your business.
Okay. That would be an interesting one, because a lot of people would probably think farmers are going to say the weather, the crops, or their animals. But interesting to hear you say the people. Yep. And I guess that's similar to any business as opposed to just farming.
Oh, look, the principles are the same for any business.
Yep.
In that regard, yes.
Yep. And what is the most important business advice you think you've received?
Is the business working for you, or are you working for the business?
As in, are you having any quality time outside of the business, or just flat out doing stuff and not planning for any future?
Definitely. Does it allow you to have recreation, holidays, family time?
Yep.
All that sort of thing.
Yep. All right, and just talking about the shed here that we're in, which you've just had built by us recently, just firstly tell us a little bit about the shed that it has replaced.
Well, the shed was built in the 1950s, I believe. Timber frame, a second-hand corrugated iron, and originally had asbestos roof. It got to the stage where the shed was at the point of falling down, so it was a good time to make the move and build a new shed. It was a decision we'd sort of debated about for a number of years, and having looked at the new shed that's been built now, I wonder why we took so long to make that decision.
Yeah.
We should have done it years ago.
You're at the stage too, you're having electricians come in this week and getting your concrete floor done fairly soon.
Yep.
I guess then you can't wait to get in here and start doing
Then
stuff.
we'll start getting the workshop up and operating, and we'll start putting in equipment in the storage stock.
Yep. And getting that all well organised right from the start, I suppose.
Oh yeah. No, we're trying to do this job, properly.
Yeah. So when you decided that you were going to replace the old shed, and you started looking into new sheds, what experience did you have both with Grant Sheds but also anybody else that you contacted?
Well, we have built up sheds ourselves over the years, not as elaborate as this one. So we knew a little bit about shed building, but it was certainly Grant's, I think it was Grant's promotional work that was mostly convinced me that this was the way to go.
All right, yep. And did you contact anybody else?
Yes, I contacted a few, and I don't think I didn't get the impression that they knew as much as what the Grants people did.
Yep, okay. And then once you decided to order from Grant Sheds, the organising of it and the communications and things like that, they were all up to scratch?
Yeah, definitely. From day one, people I talked to knew what they were talking about, understanding what I wanted, and we changed the plans a couple of times when we first started talking, and everything just seemed to work out really well, right through to when we finished.
Yep. And you had our builders put it up, Steve and his team. Mm-hmm. You've already told me that you were pretty impressed with them.
Oh yeah, they knew their stuff. Yeah, no, they did a fantastic job, very professional.
Yep. And how long did they take to build the shed? 2 weeks. 2 weeks? Yeah. Which, until we tell somebody what size it is, I suppose that won't mean much to them, but tell us what size the shed is.
It's 110, this is in the old language, 110 feet by 40 feet, with a 30 by 40 foot lean-to on one end of it.
Okay. So it's a fairly big structure, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
2 weeks is a pretty good time frame.
Oh, definitely.
And I believe there was one minor hiccup that we had in a issue with the length of some walleye, I think it was. And that problem, I believe, was overcome pretty quickly, and you barely knew about it.
Well, I didn't know about it until Danny turned up with the replacement iron, so it wasn't my concern.
And didn't cause any hold up with your shed at all.
Didn't at all.
Yep. All right, well thank you very much. I appreciate your time. Thank you for the interview.
No, you're welcome.
We'll see you on YouTube.
Yeah.
Thanks. In this shed, Henry's got some wide beams in here. They're 9 metres long. So, although this is a little bit difficult to see from here because we've got doors on that side where we're looking, but if you look up in the roof space, you can see on the far left-hand end is your end roof truss. Then there's the two in the middle, which don't actually have columns on them because they're attached to the wide beam. And then we move down here to the right-hand end, and of course you've got a column there. So the outside columns are taking the weight of the roof over that beam there. These doors are 3 metres wide by 5.1 metres high, or 10 feet by 17 feet high. And it's got a couple of 9 metre beams in there, so there's 3 doors over each 9 metre beam. They open up the 3 to give you your 9 metre wide clearance. Very smooth and easy to operate. And that's why we don't make one big door, just to keep the weight down, make them easy. Nothing more frustrating in years to come than doors that won't open easily.